never heard about men getting pregnant. I've never heard about this argument. It must be some part of what you call the far left that is so minuscule that I, who am...
No, Jane.
What?
It's not minuscule, and I'm sorry, you can't throw this back on us. I assume it's because you are locked into media that just never wants anyone in their audience to know anything sketchy about the
latest episode of Club Random. Bill Maher absolutely torched Jane Fonda's woke talking points, and it was pure entertainment. Fonda walked in thinking she was on another echo chamber podcast where her every word would be worshipped. Instead, she found herself face to face with Maher, the anti-woke sniper himself, locked, loaded, and ready to dismantle her narrative. Let's dive in.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that is...
No, you know this about California. Come
No,
on.
I don't.
Well,
I'm sorry, I don't.
You've never heard that California is overtaxed and overregulated? That we are a one-party state where there's sort of no checks on that sort of extreme leftism. And what do you think?
I don't for a minute consider California a state that is extreme leftist. Not at all, not any way.
Well, that shows where your politics.
Whoa, there's so much to unpack here. Jane Fonda lives so deep inside the Hollywood bubble that she's practically forgotten what the real world even looks like. She's been surrounded by flashing cameras, studio applause, and self-congratulating activists for so long that she started mistaking the movie set for reality itself. In her world, slogans replace logic, and moral grandstanding passes for wisdom. But Maher, he's not having any of it. He's about to grab a sharp pin of truth and pop that overinflated Hollywood illusion, dragging Fonda right back to planet Earth, where real people live, work, and actually deal with consequences. Grab your popcorn. This one's gonna...
Became the birthers, they became the Tea Party. There's about a third of this country that's very hard right. Mm-hmm. Of course they love Trump. When he left office, he had an approval rating of 34%. So he really only had those people.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he now tied? Because the other part of the coalition are people who, they don't really like him that much.
Mm-mm.
They just think the far left has gone so nutty on so many issues.
That's what they're being told.
That's what
by people like you.
Because it's true. You think the far left does nothing crazy?
Oh, I'm sure they do.
You can practically feel the tension crackling in the room as these two get ready to go head to head. It's that electric silence before the verbal punches start flying. But here's what's truly ironic. In one breath, Jane Fonda accuses Maher of claiming that the far left is going crazy. And in the very next, she admits they actually are going crazy. Classic. The double standard is practically a trademark move of the far left. Deny, deflect, then accidentally prove your opponent right. It's like watching a live demonstration of political hypocrisy at its finest. Maher knows it, the audience knows it, and Fonda's about to find out the hard way. Anyway, let's keep going.
What do you mean when you say far left?
I mean, I could give you a million examples.
Yeah, well, give me one.
Okay, the NAACP.
You think the NAACP is far left?
Could I finish my sentence?
Yes.
You asked me for an example.
Yeah.
Travel advisory, that's like the State Department does to go to, I'm sure when you went to Vietnam, they were advising you not to. There's a war on it.
I didn't talk to them. I don't have no...
I know, but a travel advisory.
Yeah.
Today we have them for very dangerous countries.
Yeah.
Don't go to North Korea. Don't go to Iran.
Yeah.
You know where they issued a travel advisory for black people not to go?
Yeah.
Florida. Every day there's stories like that that just makes people roll their eyes and go, are you people nuts? Even if they don't matter that much, I don't think one person listened to this and thought, I can't go to Florida. But they just suggest something to the average person, which I completely understand, which is, wow, do you people ever find anything that's ridiculous?
So, woke isn't just a person or a mindset. It's a full-blown ideology, one that seeps into everything. Culture, politics, entertainment, even how people think they're allowed to speak. It's an ideology that proudly declares war on common sense, twists science into activism, and rewrites history to fit a feel-good narrative. Facts become optional, logic becomes offensive, and emotion becomes the new truth. That's the core of the problem. It's not about equality anymore. It's about control through moral intimidation. intimidation. I only wish Maher had driven that point home harder. He hinted at it, sure, but stopped short of pulling the trigger. Maybe he's cautious not to alienate his liberal audience. Still, someone needs to say it plainly. Woke culture isn't progress. It's a slow erosion of reason.
Men can get pregnant, that kind of stuff. And I understand that a trans woman can get pregnant. That's different than a man getting pregnant. Insist on blurring that line as if that's some sort of reasonable social cause, as opposed to just being for having full rights, respect, and protection for trans.
Nope. Trans women can't get pregnant. That's just biological reality. But Maher is absolutely right when he says the trans movement should focus on securing rights and freedoms, not rewriting scientific facts. There's a clear difference between demanding respect and demanding that everyone abandon reason to validate ideology. The movement loses credibility when it pushes ideas that clash with basic biology, like insisting men can give birth or that gender has zero ties to sex. That kind of extremism doesn't advance equality. It divides people who might otherwise be allies. The real path forward lies in protecting individual freedoms, ensuring dignity, and promoting open dialogue, not policing language or silencing disagreement. Arguing, shaming, and forcing beliefs on others only fuels backlash and shuts down the honest conversation society actually needs.
Men getting pregnant. I've never heard about this argument. It must be some part of what you call the far left that is so minuscule that I, who am...
No, Jane,
What?
It's not minuscule, and I'm sorry, you can't throw this back on us. I assume it's because you are locked into media that just never wants anyone in their audience to know anything sketchy about the blue.
And that right there was the hammer blow. Jane Fonda tried to pivot faster than a politician caught on a hot mic. One second she's defending the far left, and the next she's pretending she's never heard the argument that a man can get pregnant. Really, Jane? That line's been paraded on every woke talk show, college campus, and social media feed for years. You can't just pretend it doesn't exist. Then, realizing she'd boxed herself in, she tried to wriggle out of it by claiming that the woke left represents only a tiny fraction of the Democratic Party. But Maher wasn't buying it. With one sharp retort, he burst her bubble, reminding her that this isn't some fringe theory anymore. It's mainstream rhetoric within the modern left. That moment exposed everything. The denial, the spin, and the desperate attempt to rewrite reality on live camera.
I mean, I don't know. I read two papers, and maybe I don't. I should watch Fox News.
No,
I guess.
I don't watch that. That's too far. But you don't have to. I'm not going to torture.
And that's how the conversation finally fizzled out, with Jane Fonda practically conceding defeat. Cornered and visibly uncomfortable, she joked that she now wished she had watched more Fox News. But that moment said it all. It wasn't just a throwaway line, it was an accidental confession that she'd been living in an echo chamber. For years, her Hollywood bubble had shielded her from the unfiltered debates happening in the real world, on mainstream media, social platforms, and around ordinary dinner tables. While she was busy swimming in a pool of applause from like-minded elites, reality was moving on without her. Maher simply pulled back the curtain, and for the first time, she got a glimpse of how detached that world has become. Sometimes truth doesn't need to shout, it just needs to pop the bubble.
In the history of this country was police who were all too willing to shoot black people. So defund the police, though, was not a good idea. And you know who mostly didn't think it was a good idea was black people. Because they want police in their neighborhoods, probably more than we need them in our...
Well, that's the problem with woke culture. It thrives on impulse, not introspection. The loudest voices rarely stop to think about the long-term repercussions of their actions or demands. They just ride the wave of whatever's trendy until the tide turns, and suddenly the same people who are shouting slogans are pretending they never did. Take the defund the police movement, for example. A few years ago, activists, including many in the black community, were screaming it from every street corner, treating it like the ultimate moral stance. Fast forward to today, and reality has hit hard. Crime surged, neighborhoods became less safe, and now those same communities are realizing, perhaps more than anyone, how vital law enforcement truly is. It's a brutal reminder that chasing virtue signaling trends without considering consequences often ends up hurting the very people they claim to protect.
Republicans tried to catch the Democrats with this, and they put this on, they brought it up in Congress.
Yeah.
And all the Democrats voted against it. The Democratic politicians were not for defunding the police. It's that radical fringe that has captured a lot of the media, academia, some of these cultural institutions that are not liberal anymore by my old school liberalism. The ACLU is all about free speech. They don't really believe in it anymore. They believe, in one of their chief people who is trans said, I will die on this hill of banning this.
Yep, Maher is absolutely right. The woke left has become the loudest and most dominant faction within the Democratic Party, effectively hijacking the entire conversation. They dictate the tone, the language, and even what topics are safe to discuss. Unfortunately, the mainstream left, the so-called moderates, seem powerless to push back. Many simply stay silent out of fear of being labeled bigots or traitors to the cause. The few brave politicians and commentators who have dared to challenge this ideological madness often face brutal backlash, from organized smear campaigns to professional cancellations, and in some extreme cases, even death threats. It's no longer about healthy debate or progressive ideals. It's about submission to an ever-shifting moral orthodoxy. Maher's point cuts deep. If the left doesn't reclaim its sanity soon, the woke fringe will drag it straight into political irrelevance.
Voters say U.S. can't repair severe divisions. They went into the fact that 5 years ago, even during the pandemic and during the George Floyd protests, even then, people thought, well, we are going to get through this. And now they seem to be on the page of, it's not going to happen. What do we do? Did you see the story?
Yeah, I think what's new about this moment, one of my teachers and friends, Doug Seidman, likes to say this, we aren't divided, we are being divided.
That's right.
By companies for profit, okay? And we have our divisions, we always have,
Well, I have to disagree. I don't think division just happened. I think the far left wants it this way. The woke left thrives on outrage and polarization because it gives them control. They don't debate, they dictate. The moment you challenge their worldview or refuse to echo their talking points, you're branded a villain, canceled, shamed, or silenced into submission. It's not about inclusivity or progress anymore. It's about enforcing ideological purity. We've seen countless people lose jobs, reputations, and even friendships simply for daring to hold a different opinion. That's not tolerance. That's authoritarianism wrapped in virtue signaling. Until the left learns to actually tolerate differing perspectives and engage in honest dialogue instead of public witch hunts, unity will remain nothing more than a hollow slogan. You can't build bridges when one side keeps burning them down.
You, on your phone, you ordered a yoga mat or something. Your algorithm figured out you're a liberal. Then your neighbor looked up a truck. You're a conservative. And from that day forward, you got different information every day and nobody sent a notice. And so now you literally think your neighbor is insane because how could they possibly think this stuff? But if you put your phone next to their phone, you're in different algorithmic universes, and that is brand new. And
for once, I actually agree with Van Jones on this one. We desperately need a converging universe on our social media platforms, a space where differing opinions aren't hidden, but encouraged to collide. Right now, algorithms act like digital babysitters, feeding us only the content that flatters our existing beliefs and shields us from opposing views. That's not enlightenment, that's intellectual isolation. If we ever want to restore genuine dialogue in this country, we need to be exposed to arguments that challenge us, frustrate us, and even make us uncomfortable. The left should see what the right is saying, and the right should hear what the left believes, not through sound bites or outrage clips, but real conversations. Only then can we learn to grapple with reality instead of marinating in curated delusion. Until social platforms stop trapping us inside ideological bubbles, we'll keep mistaking comfort for truth, and that's dangerous. And on this note, we draw the curtains on today's video. If you enjoyed it, then hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.